Peace, 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 peace. This is your sister Rue Lisa Temple, beautiful upstate New York, Hudson Valley, and I am here tonight on the Healing Chambers, and we have Krystal Glenn in the building. We are excited, Miss Smart Video Girl. We are going to have some fun this evening. We are going to talk about her best-selling book, because that's what we call it. We call it a bestseller. Yeah. We are projecting that, putting that out there, and we are going to be talking to her about this book, writing the book, and the journey along the way, and her thoughts on health and how that fits into aligning yourself with your authentic self. So aligning with your authentic self. So, like I said, this is Sister Rue. Welcome back for those who are back. Welcome to all those who are new here at the Healing Chambers. Healing Chambers is a part of a community program called Hagia Healing, which is a Lisa Temple community program. It is completely funded by the community itself. It is not federally funded. So if you give with an open heart and know that you can't get a tax write-off. It's okay. But it's okay. You know, little Billy won't bust your windows this month. That's all. So you pay some kind of way, right? But anyway, I thank you all for being here with me tonight. This is the end of December, y'all. We just came off of Human Rights Week, which was absolutely amazing. A full week of emotion and high intensity and conversations and thought-provoking questions. So if you haven't checked out that information, please go back over to Mr. Westbrook's class. You can find that stuff on YouTube. You can go over on Instagram, Lisa Temple 1, and find those lives where we went in the first, third, and fifth day. So with that being said, Krystal Glenn, Smart Video Girl, Miss Chris, in the building. Listen, thank you so much for being here with us. You look beautiful as ever, bright as ever. I'm so excited to have your book. And yes, y'all know me unread. I have my autographs. So y'all can't tell me nothing. So when she rich and famous, I have an autograph copy.
That's right. So, you know it.
But so tell us, Krystal, how's everything been? Tell us about you. Let the people know who you are before we get into do the work and keep the faith.
All right. Well, I will start with something that I like to introduce myself with. Is my authenticity statement, which is I am a creative, an influential visionary who empowers people to think and live their best lives. Yes. So I like to say that because I do so many things. I am so many things. But that statement encompasses all of what I do. I'm a videographer. I'm a content creator. I'm a mother. I'm a podcast host. I'm a producer. You know, I am a teacher. I literally do a lot of things. But at the core of who I am, I'm someone who is creative. I have a vision for our community. I have empathy for our community, compassion for our community, and that everything that I do is for that, to serve that purpose.
Wow, that is so beautiful. And you know, I love that that is the way you introduce yourself. And I'm sure in your workshops and in your book, you teach people how to make those authenticity statements. Now, towards the end of this video, we're going to have links for you to be able to find the book and find the upcoming workshop in January. So just know, keep your ears open for that information, and it'll be posted below this video. So that statement, you know, is beautiful. And I'm sure, like you said, it encompasses it all. So tell us how you were able to decide, because see, I already read the book, so I know, but tell us how you started upon this journey and what this book has meant, you know, moving towards where you are right now and what you continue to offer to the community.
Okay, well, first of all, this book here is this is my baby. This is my baby. Like, I got kids, but this is like the baby that took me a long time to birth. I knew I was to write a book. Excuse excuse me, in my 20s. It was just placed on my heart. I was like, I'm going to write a book. I didn't know what I was going to write about. And I thought I was going to write an autobiography, but then I was like, who cares? Who cares about your story? I mean, genuinely. So it's like, what am I supposed to write about? God, like, what am I supposed to write? And it was just through life's obstacles, life's journeys of this book evolved from something that was an autobiography to what it is now, which is a blueprint of how I have come to align with myself, and how I can help other people do that, or assist or share information that could be useful along someone else's journey. So, I did a lot of work on myself. There's a lot of self work, a lot of healing, in this journey about who I am, and what purpose do I serve, and what is it that I'm really called to do, and how was my past, and how were the things that I grew up affecting who I was trying to become. All of that is in this book. So when I created the authenticity statement, it was about 3 years ago. And you talk about intuition, the workshop, the way you develop it resonated with me. Like at each point, it was like I didn't have to guess about it. And it's almost like a new coat or a new pair of shoes. When I first said it, it was almost like not, I don't want to say imposter syndrome because we throw that out a lot, but it was like it resonated, but I couldn't see it. I was like, but it felt right. It felt right. It clicked. It made so much sense. And it was like, that's the direction I was going in. And over the last 3 years, I've seen that statement truly manifest itself to that. So now when I say it, it's a ownership in a way that was different when it was just something that resonated with who I was. So that's the aligning, you know what I'm saying? It's like it showed up internally first in that resonating with the words and the meaning of it. And now I embody it in the physical. So
Mhm.
that is that's that aligning with your, and that's really what it is, like really bringing who you are as the core to now living this life in today, in the 3D, in and being that same person. Like that's what this book is about. That's my journey. That's what
Mhm.
my journey of life has been about.
Right. And you mentioned there was a lot of work done, and you mentioned a lot of healing
Yes.
that had to come to fruition, and that you had to do. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, how did you start to notice the things that needed healing? And just
Mm,
so you guys know, you see her about to pull this water up. We have been having a gratitude and drink your water challenge. You,
right.
you know what? Throw that out there real quick, just so you can let people know about that.
Right. So I've been for the past 47 days
7 days.
now. We've been on a journey of gratitude, and it's hydrate and appreciate, where every day we I provide a gratitude affirmation statement that states that we are grateful, what we are grateful for. And it is not just your superficial, I'm grateful for waking up this morning. We talking about I am grateful for the willingness to do the things that I need to do to become the person who I know I am. Like that
Wonderful.
type of gratitude. And then really journaling about how do I take those steps to really get there, to meet myself where I am with the gratitude. So even if you don't feel it, right? I mean, even if you don't see it and you can't really own it, you can start to see your way to it. So that's really what the combination of hydrate and
Yeah.
and
Every
appreciate.
time I see a little green bottle, I'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like,
Yes.
let me grab my little water bottle. But let's talk about this healing. So, how did you begin to recognize the spaces in your life? Were they obvious ones? Well, I'm sure there were obvious ones, but were there a lot of surprises along the way?
Yeah, I mean, most of mine was it's all relational, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was all relational. Um, but over the course of time, it became different types of relationships, right? So it was my parental relationships. Then it became my romantic relationships and my ability to interact with men and relationships and things of that sort. Then I became a mother. So then it was how by showing up as a mother. So the challenges, and then the final one really was my relationship with myself, right? That was like the part that broke me open, was realizing that even though I'm looking at all these other relationships with my mom and our tumultuous relationship because of her past and her addiction, her traumas, and how it affected me, and how I had to learn how to heal them myself and not hold her accountable for my healing. Relationships with men that kind of stem from the lack of relationship that I had with my dad, even though he was in the household. That's the people don't talk about that sometimes. My dad was there, but there was still not a relationship. My
Mm.
father, for the first time, I'm 44. For the first time, baby, 3 weeks ago, told me he apologized and hugged me, told me he loved me. I cried like a baby because I had never, ever experienced that. And you don't realize how much you need that or how much you're missing it until you get it. That thing hit me like I felt like a little girl again. I felt like a little girl again
You got
because
me tearing.
my is, and I teared because I felt like a kid at a candy store. Like, it's like, that's all I ever wanted,
All
to,
you ever needed.
to actually feel loved by my dad. I knew he loved me. He would
Mm.
go to the end. I knew it, but I couldn't feel it. And
Mm.
that was the first time I felt it genuinely.
Wow. I'm so happy for you.
Oh my
Like
God.
I said, you got me tearing up because I don't know my dad, and we talked about this a couple of years ago on the Healing Chambers about the presence and the absence of a father and what that does to one. Especially as the oldest child, I had so much responsibility, and not having a dad, just seemed to put a spotlight on that, and it just really made me very, different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to hear something like that, you know, I can only imagine, because I know what it made me feel when you said it. It had to be super empowering, and just it had to be so healing. So
I melted.
congratulations on that.
I
Tell
melted
dad
like
good
chocolate.
job. Tell
I
dad good job. Good job, dad.
Yes. I melted like chocolate. It was like, you don't know, that healing. And so it impact, because I was the oldest too, so, and I had a younger sister, so he was like hands off when my mom was out. Even though he was there, he was hands off. You got it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
that creates a dynamic as well, all of these things. So um and that being the foundation, because we learn from the people who raise us, the people who are closest to us, whoever that may be. And, you know, the, even though today I understand and I appreciate and I can see my parents' journey and realize that they were doing the absolute best that they could, and they did a really good job. Okay.
Amen.
They did
Yes.
a great job based on what they had and what they were working with. I could see that they wanted different. They just didn't know how to do it. And because based on what they did everything different in a way to try to make it better. But
Right.
sometimes they stumble and sometimes they didn't get it right, and they deal with their own stuff, but they were doing better than what they had. So
Right. And we have to remember who their parents were and what traumas they were dealing with themselves.
period.
So it's a definite, it's not one of those black and white kind of things.
Mhm.
You definitely have to go in, and you have to be willing to recognize, your part, because you mentioned accountability, and I want to go back to that part in a minute. But you think about, our parents and their parents, and how they, were doing their best to
Yeah.
to work with what they had based upon the traumas that they were raised under, because our grandparents were a lot harder than our parents were. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And their parents were a lot harder
Yeah.
because they many times they was one removed away from indentured servitude or such. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? We gonna call it that for lack of better word. You know, we ain't
There you
gonna call
go.
it we ain't gonna call it what it was,
Mhm.
sadly. But when we think, I really I touched on that before about what the healing journey looks like for somebody who recognizes the savagery that may have been imparted upon some of the elders that raised the elders that raised us.
Yeah.
Because when we think about how hard our parents could be on us sometimes, or how hands off our parents can be at some time, because I'm sure, with just what you're saying with your father being there but not being hands on, he more than likely saw when he was growing up the women handle the children. No matter the oldest, you got it. You don't have to worry about it. So he didn't have to participate in that role, not realizing that that wasn't right then and it ain't right now, you
That's right.
know. But he got it now because he came, he let you know. He
Yeah.
let you know. And that's all we can really, if we are fortunate enough to still have our parents, that's all
Mhm.
we can really do is continue to work on ourselves so we can better understand us, so we can better understand the people around us in those relationships. So
Yeah.
it's definitely all related. And so you had mentioned accountability.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about in terms of that in the authentic self is, have you found that people who are willing to take accountability have a better experience along the journey in terms of being able to accept and move past some of the hurdles that come along with this path?
Okay, say it again.
So the people who accept accountability for,
Okay.
for whatever it is, their part in a thing or their
Mhm.
ignorance of a thing, have you
Mhm.
how has that affected their journey? How have you seen that affect their journey?
Okay, so people who accept accountability, who have self accountability
Mm-hmm.
in a situation, they are able to move from there's like four stages of consciousness I talk about in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those stages of consciousness is the to me, right? To me, to me, to
Mm-hmm.
me, to me. If you never take accountability for yourself, for your role, however, you are always the victim in a situation. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If you can't see yourself, if you can't see yourself and take accountability for that, so then you get stuck in that level of consciousness that things always happen to you. So those who are able to accept accountability can start to move and progress through the other levels of consciousness. And that's where a lot of people get stuck, because they don't ever want to accept accountability. That's like the first, you
Right.
have to be able to see yourself. You cannot blame society, mama, anybody else. You can understand the roles that they play, but you can't blame. And that's where we have to be, that's where you have to own your part. What did I allow? What did I see and ignore? What did I do? You know what I'm saying? And so that you can be aware in how you conduct yourself moving forward so that you don't become the victim. Things don't just happen to you. You are
Mm-hmm.
now able to be a part of what happens in your life. You can take some
Right,
type of
right. You're able
accountability
to shape the
and
mold.
ownership. hmm
Wow.
And you have to want to do that. You know what I'm saying? You really have to want to not be a victim, and really have to want to progress and understand that it does. It takes it takes you saying, you know what, Dago, I allowed that to happen. It just didn't happen to me. These people were just bad people, and they just wanted to real. I was open, and I never shut the door. I got to learn to shut the door. So now I can shut the door. It doesn't excuse what happened. It doesn't make it okay for whatever happened to you or whatever you allowed to happen or the actions of the person or whatever the case may be. It could be, man, I keep losing my wallet. Well, maybe if you put it doesn't always have to be so traumatic or extreme. It's just the little things, you know what I'm saying? How mindful of you. You keep losing your keys. It's not the keys' fault.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Damn
Right.
keys. No, baby. What are you doing? You're lacking something and you're not paying attention to your steps and your moves. You're moving
Mm-hmm.
too fast. Are you not stopping to think? You got to be accountable for the fact that you keep losing your keys. So it doesn't always have to be other people involved too. Things that keep showing up in your life is you don't have bad luck. I don't think that. I believe that we're not taking accountability, paying attention to how we're showing up in the situation. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
accountability allows you it empowers you instead
Mm-hmm.
of leaves you, dormant or open to the whims of whatever happens to you.
Right. I totally get that. And it's so true. And would you agree that sometimes a victim is a victim?
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the lessons that being a victim teaches us is self-forgiveness, letting ourselves know that this what did happen to me was
Mm-hmm.
not something that I caused.
That's part.
You know
That's
what I mean? Now, if you walk in and bust somebody in the head and they bust you back in the head, that's something you caused. But
yeah.
if something happened to you when you were a little boy, a little girl, that
Yes.
you had no control over, or even as an adult that you had no control over, we tend to blame ourselves when these
Yes.
bad things happen or these uncomfortable or scary things happen and put us in victim mode. And sometimes we stay there because we like, well, maybe I deserved it,
Mhm. We can
and I
keep
think
ourselves in victim mode.
we keep
We keep
ourselves in
ourselves.
there, so by not forgiving ourselves or recognizing that I'm not responsible for
Yeah.
that, but I'm responsible for the way that I recognize and deal with that and move past it.
Yes.
So
And
yeah.
that is a way to break free from that to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You compassion for yourself,
Yeah.
forgiveness for yourself, grace for yourself. And
Yeah.
that's how you free yourself from that. And because a lot of times we are these external battles, the people and the things are just to really help us learn how to deal with ourselves too.
Absolutely. I agree.
Goodness gracious. I I realized that in my interactions with relating with people, how judgmental I was of people. And then I realized that I was just as judgmental about myself. So everything and all that woo 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 that I was giving that all to myself in a way. I was reflecting that in myself. And I was like, oh, wow. That was more impactful than realizing that I was judging other people, is that I was the one judging myself. That
Yes.
hit me like a brick. Yeah.
Yes, and you know what I think was even more powerful, was also powerful in that is
hmm
realizing that you're critical of yourself based upon other people's idea of who and what and where you're supposed to be in life,
That
and
part.
you beating yourself to death. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? You beating yourself to death
For what
because
you
of what
for
somebody
what
else
other people.
did. Right, right.
Listen, I said I'm free of goop. The
You,
good opinion of other people. Like that's not because
mm.
I'm not gonna let you judge me now. Like I'm free of judging myself. I'm definitely not gonna let you judge me. I'm
Oh,
not
say
gonna
it slow. Say it again for the people. You snuck that in there. The goop. Tell them about the goop.
the goop, the good opinion of other people. We're
Good
not doing
opinion
that.
of other people, y'all. You think about that.
Get out the goop.
Without
Get
the
out the.
goop.
Mm-hmm. We don't want
Yeah,
it. We don't want it.
absolutely. Well, you cover so much in this book, and I keep showing it. I love the cover.
Thank you.
It is just beautiful. I'm so proud of you. I know how hard it is to complete a book. Trust me, I know. Especially when it's your baby. When you really are intentional about what it is you want to give, you certain about what it is you want to give, and you wanted to look a certain way and be a certain way and feel a certain way. You mentioned when you were in college, you were given a book by Ayana Van Zandt.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Big Sis Ayana, doing her thing for a long time,
Yeah,
controversial and all.
I love it.
I can remember when I was young, how she used to catch some of the business, boy. But she had stuck to her guns and been
Yeah,
herself and been who she is, and look at where she is now. And look at how many people she's been able to help. And I know that
I'm one of those people.
you'll be the same way, if not more. So, like I said, shout out to Sister Ayana Van Zandt, Big Sis, and for her influence on our sister Krystal. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about that initial, like, oh my, because it seems like from what I've read that this was a whole new like world to you. So how did that kind of begin to hit you and move you towards your next book, which was The Secret, that really broke you open and allowed you to do the things that you're doing now?
Um, that's a very interesting question because it that those are like pivotal moments. So, I got introduced to that book. I was probably around 18, which is like 9. So don't get me all cycles, breaking cycles, new
Mm-hmm.
starts and stuff. That
Mm-hmm.
was the opening. It was kind of like, oh wow, there is um a black woman who is speaking to me in this way about spirituality, and I was relating to it, and because I've been to church, and I knew about positive thinking too a little bit because my dad had a whole bunch of books around the house, and I was always into them. But when I read her book, it was like a whole new world open as to who I was and what I was feeling and how I can show up in the world, um, as a person. And I started following her from there. I was hooked like glue, and then I realized she was in Silver Spring, so I attended so many workshops. Um, it was just like a door opening to her work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of proximity, I'm right in Silver Spring. I was catching it. I was like, that's right near the Greyhound station. She had a spot right next to the metro station and was going to her workshops, and she actually told me that was the first time I learned about your life path number, and that was a life path 9, and I was like, it was a huge assignment, and I was like, I don't know what you know, you know what I'm saying, in my 20s, but it was an opening. I was like, God was really showing me him, then showing me the spirit of who I am, and the power of that resonates within this world. Like it was just eye opening for me. And I kind of stayed in that space for a very long time, just being curious and open to knowing more about myself. Like I've been going to workshops and seminars forever. That's why I said I'm a lifetime. And she was probably one of the first people that I went to as far as like a workshop, a seminar, about, yourself and who you are and trying to, think. And then but it was rooted in the year, and I knew something then that it was something that just resonated again. I felt it in the core, and I was like, I want to keep going down this rabbit hole. And then I did. That was, yeah, around 18 was her book, and then so out throughout my early 20s, I was going to her seminars, and then around the age of 26, 27, I ran into The Secret, and then
Well,
yeah, and then The Secret opened me up into the possibility, at that time it was basically what you think about, you bring about, in summary. So I was like, oh, I could do that. I could think about some stuff. But it wasn't making a connection. And now what I realize is what I had learned, the basis with Yonda, and then the combination with The Secret together is what I have come to realize. Because the funny thing is, the epiphany the full circle moment, the epiphany was when I was at the rites of passage with the Yangla in the mountains not too long ago when I was 42. And I had the realization that my heart chakra was closed and I was judging myself, and it was me against me at that point. It wasn't me against the world, it was me against me. And the only thing standing in my way was myself. And it was that full circle revelation that I started with her, and then I transform with her as well. So that kind of goes through my journey as far. I've always been curious though. I've always been curious and always been open to learning more. Like the smart video girl, the smart part comes because I love math. Like I love numbers. I'm a
Oh, you and
geek.
my daughter in the maths.
Yes, I'm a geek. I love science. Like now I call myself a scientist. Like I'm conducting experiments on life all the time. So
Yes.
I'm a natural learner. But I'm also very creative, and for me, that's the God part. That's the intuition. That. So that's all of me. That's where you get the smart
Mhm.
video girl part, because the video is just my interpretation of creativity. That's the creative part of what He has given me as a gift, to create for people to see. So. It's being the holistic approach to this transformation, to being authentic. Like to be authentic, you have to be whole and
Oh, right.
right. So it's a holistic approach to who I am, and aligning with your authentic self is a holistic approach, in my opinion, because it's mental and it's spiritual. It's how you think, and then being open to forgetting what you think almost. You know what I'm saying? Like throwing everything out the window.
Yeah.
So you have to be open to that
Yeah.
in order to really align with your authentic self, because really who you are, you can't think about who you are.
No, no, because who you are right now, you probably won't be 5 minutes from now.
That's what I'm saying. So you can't be stuck on who you are right now, in that sense. But so that's kind of that journey. So it was just really her being an example, a face, a black woman. I think that was really impactful. And the friend who had introduced me to her, it was like we had similar stories, and this was someone who had helped her through her journey. So it was like, well, she can help me too, because we've been through similar things. And so it was that connection. And I'm grateful for that, because it's been 20 some years now that I have
That's
been.
amazing. That's amazing. To have such a mentor so close to you and not even know that this is where this is going to begin. How beautiful and amazing. You actually kind of fast forwarded my questions because
Oh,
you
sorry.
because and it's good because I think it's important sometimes for especially the people who may have some reservations, maybe still trying to find their footing along the path. You mentioned you had gone to church or what have you, but
Mhm.
it was more like you're on this journey. So what I would like to ask you, if you're willing to answer, do you believe that the path is predestined, or do you believe that we created along the way, or a combination of these things? Because you have mentioned God in a couple of your statements. So tell us how God, and what this path looks like or has looked like, has meant towards that in your spirituality.
Okay, so there's one. As a young girl, the one thing that I knew for certain, if I didn't know nothing else, was that we all have choice. I knew that from the beginning.
Okay.
I was choice. So because I used to get on my mother because she was just addicted to drugs, and I was like, "You're choosing," and I was adamant about choice. So to answer your question, I believe like who we are is planted in us. as far as, okay, so if you want to call that destiny, predestined, I think it's planted in us. But we have free will. We have the ability to choose. So we can choose to ignore. We can choose to go different paths, and so that's my belief. And again, it's if God, and I say God, I don't. God is not it's not a person. It's not a man in the sky. you know,
Right, right.
it's not even, it really is the energy that seed that's planted in you is God. You know what I'm saying?
All
Because
the
that's,
things, right.
yeah. So it can't make you do anything. It can't make you choose. So that so for me, that's where that conversation is like, it's planted in you. There's a path, and I think who we are, because ultimately the goal is to be, your highest self, which is most godlike. That's the path. That to me is the path. Now, how we do that, I think that's through our choice, and so we co-create through how we choose to what the choices that we make. We
Right.
we co-create in the thoughts that we choose to have and
Yes.
what we choose to believe. Those
Yeah.
things are how we co-create with with it. So, at the end of the day, they don't- it it's kind of on us to really choose to step up and to align ourselves with our authentic self. And when we do that, then I feel like everything in the sense of, what we learn in the religion about is having God's glory and entering the gates of heaven. All of that is because we are aligning with our highest selves. And so we
Right.
are automatically abundant. We are automatically loved. We are automatically, all of those things are already given to us because we have chosen to align with the God in us.
Right.
That's my
Thank
belief.
you. No, no, thank you. That's perfect. You hear people ask that question all along because indoctrination is something that many of us, have been subjected to and have no clue. We
Hmm.
don't even realize that, all the things that have been poured into us since children that we believe, and we don't know why we even believe it. We just do because,
Yeah.
but that's what mama said, that's what Nana said, that's what Big
Hmm.
Mama said. So that's just what you believe. You
Right.
know what I mean? But it's when you take accountability and you start walking this path instead of being pushed down it. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Because then you see that it is choices, and with
Yes.
your decisions is what makes this, either a heaven or a hell.
That part.
You know what I
For
mean?
you. Right.
And I tell people like this, even heaven got a little bit of hell. You know
Period.
what I mean? It's like you be walking in heaven, and then when you dip down, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what that
I
happened? You know what I'm saying? I fell off the bridge.
done
You
fell
know
off
what
the
I
bridge.
mean?
And
I
like
done fell
my
off the
my son
bridge.
plays the video
Like,
game, so
like, oh,
it
the
just
soul.
pulls you right
Look at
back
me like
up.
the sole of my foot feel a little hot. Like, what's going on? But I
Relax.
love this. I love this, and you talk about making choices and being deliberate and intentional. And
Yes.
so, you talked about thinking, and when you found a book, the secret, how you found you had this manifest kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
I can manifest whatever I want. I can do things like that. So I want to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
with actual physical health things. So when you find people on this journey who are dealing with, let's say, heart problems or lung problems or cancer or diabetes or all these things like this, and still going through this very transformative journey of this spirituality or what have you, how important is it for people to be able to clearly think for themselves and do some of that work?
Okay, so this is kind of a sensitive subject for me. My son, at the age of 5, they found a tumor in his jaw. bone of his top left jaw, and he had to have surgery at the age of 5 to remove the bone. He has no bone, all of that. He's 14 now, and at the age of 5, as his mother, I had to teach my son how to take ownership of his health because he had a prosthetic piece that so it would allow him to be able to eat and food not be coming out his mouth and I'm coming out his nose and stuff like that. And because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was not something that his mother could do. He had to do it. And so I had to teach him how to regulate his emotions. I told him, I said, you can be upset. You can uh you can fuss, you can fight, you can break down if you need to. Take all the time you need. But then you have to but you have to come back, sir. And you have to keep moving forward. You can't stay right there. And now he's a 14-year-old teenage boy. And a lot of people say, oh, you have an anomaly because he is truly a gem. He likes to take showers. Like people like seriously, he's 14. He likes he's very self-sufficient in the fact that he knows how to make decisions. He'll tell me because he's into art. He tried portrait art, he didn't like it. All this to say, and so what it is. So his journey for healing, right? His healing journey, I, as the mother, was terrified. I was like, this is gonna be he's gonna have to live with this for the rest of his life. Oh my God. I had to be careful about projecting all of that onto him, right? Because it is his journey. So for years we were struggling trying to figure out how to get this together because he has a prosthodontist, an orthodontist, a ear, nose, and throat, and all kinds of doctors. To help him deal with this. And at the same time, his face is kind of, as he's grown, his face hasn't accommodated. Because if your body is missing pieces, it tries to accommodate, but it won't necessarily do the thing. So as he's gotten bigger, this left side of his face is a little smaller than the right side of his face and things of that sort. But you can't tell this boy anything.
I love it.
You can't tell there's nothing wrong with him. You know what I'm saying? He's just he just so now we're in the other part of so now he's gonna have to have like oral surgery and he has braces and then they're gonna have to do reconstructive surgery at some point to once everything is done and his mindset, right? So because this is what I'm getting at, the mindset.
The mindset, right?
The mindset. When they said he had to do oral surgery, I was like, oh my God, he's going to freak out. I'm saying this, he's going to freak out. He said, are y'all going to put me to sleep? Because I already know what that's like. He just want to make sure
I'm going to be asleep.
you're going to put me to sleep because I don't want to have to deal with that part. He's a soldier, and it's because his mind understands like the process of what it takes for him to do it. Like he's mentally strong in his ability just to go through the process. And when we can learn that it is a process, right? Gratitude, learning to be grateful for the healing process. If you're in it and you can hone the energy and the attitude of being grateful for the healing process
Yes.
as you're going through it. You just know it's the part of the process. You don't get stuck in any one moment or any one emotion that keeps you in that sickly mood. Even though it may be a struggle, even though I personally haven't had, thank you, Jesus, thank God, any serious health issues. You know what I'm saying? I've had miscarriages, and that in itself is something meant,
It's definitely
yeah,
traumatic.
yes, that's traumatic in itself, and you know, I had a whole daughter after that, but that's traumatic in itself. But as far as like health, I've been blessed to be fairly healthy. And then so to have my son go through this, I had all kinds of thought processes about my parenting because I was like, did I miss something? 'Cause, I mean, that tumor was like this big on a 5-year old's face, y'all. It was just, but it was inside. I couldn't see it. And then by the
Right.
time it was just, I felt horrible as a mother. But my ability to help him as a 5-year old create the mental capacity, the mental ability to navigate his own health issues, to have a positive mindset about himself and his healing journey has been helpful. And I can see that now in this next part where he has to actually it's going to be an active part of the healing journey. He's going to be in more surgeries and things of that sort because he only had the one surgery at 5. He hadn't had anything else after that. So for people in dealing with health, even when it comes to sometimes like even mental health issues, it is something that we have to learn how to use our minds to help in that process because our body keeps the score. And sometimes our body doesn't know the difference between being healthy and sick.
Absolutely.
And if we can train our brains or if we can understand that there's a healing process and we know that and if we embody that essence of our authentic self of being a godly, then we can heal or we can at least we can we can understand we can heal and start to work on our health in a way by using gratitude and I think gratitude that definitely is one of the biggest ones for me.
One of the biggest ones. One of the biggest.
I'm a big proponent of gratitude, the power
I
energy
am
of
as well.
gratitude, because it's not only about being grateful for what you have, it's being grateful for what is already yours and in calling and believing
Yes.
that it is yours and knowing that. And so that's why with this gratitude exercise is having gratitude is a two-part. It's not just about right now, but it's like how do you stay in that? How do I continue to perpetuate this energy and this attitude of gratitude because it is powerful. And so if we can learn to be grateful for the journey, then in healing, then I think that we can overcome. So I can't, because as I speak, my father is in the emergency room.
Wow.
Okay, he was complaining of pain, but um, he again a mental attitude, a mental ability to not allow the illness or the sickness or whatever is overcoming you consume you so that you can be present and you don't own it to the fact where it can consume you. So one of the things I say in here is when I talk about I am, the power of I am. And
Right.
so with the words that we speak about ourselves and our health and things are important. So that those are things like on your healing journey when you talk about health is you have to own healing as well. You have to own your health. And again, we talk about choices. So we have to make choices that will allow us
Right.
to remain healthy, right?
Right.
Hydrate, eating our fruits, vegetables, exercising, choice. We can't make bad choices, and then when health issues come upon us per se, that's why we have to be careful with stress. That's another thing. All of these things we can eliminate stress if we can learn how it shows up in our body and how it causes disease, based on the things that we think or how we feel and what we're holding on to and how it shows up in our body in different ways. So,
Right.
and a lot of that too is awareness. So, um, it's a lot in that. I personally, again, thank you for clean bill of health. Um, have not had to like firsthand activate any of those powers, but I try to make good choices too. I try to
Right.
make good choices. I drink a lot of water. I like to exercise. I like to walk. I like to eat. But I know things happen. And then if something should happen, then how do I choose to allow it to affect me? Am I going to be grateful for this journey of healing process? I'm going to have to do that. And it may be hard. I'm not saying it's easy. Like these steps, I'm not saying it like, oh, it's going to be easy. You're going to just be, but you learning and understanding that that is part of your superpower and in the your ability to have some control or some say so or decision making, co-creation in how it may affect you, which is a powerful thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that answer. Just for addressing all of that. And, healing mercies to your dad. That he gets home safely and feeling much better. And kudos to your son moving
Yeah.
forward with all that he has going on. We can go on and on. In the Healing Chambers, we talk a lot about Louise Hay, which is one of the authors that many of us in the spiritual world, we kind of deal with that when we talk about the medical, or disease aspects of, life. So Louise Hay believes that, and she shared that all illnesses, in her opinion, had a spiritual, emotional, psychological root, and that these things show up in our bodies, when we, and she does a lot of positive affirmations, and and a lot of negation, letting the body know, because like you said, it doesn't know whether it's healthy or sick sometimes. But one of the things we remind people here in the Healing Chambers is that optimal health is a birthright,
Yes.
and because it is a birthright, you then ask the question, well, why do some of these things happen? Because you clearly stated your son was 5 years old. What did he ever do that caused this particular thing? But if we were to go to Louise Hay's work and look up, let's say a tumor or a cheek or a jawbone or something, it would show us some kind of emotional, spiritual, psychological connection to this thing that more than likely, since he's 5 years old, wasn't his, it was yours. You know what I mean?
I already know.
And so it wasn't his, it was yours. So it's so amazing to me and so fascinating. And nobody, you mentioned something else about earlier on about not knowing anything. I tell people the greatest thing you can know truly is that you know nothing.
I love that.
Every time you think you got it, trust me, you don't. You know what I'm saying? You don't have it. And if you got it, hold on, it'll be a minute, you'll get it again. You'll lose it again. But I just, I'm reminded for myself and those around me that, it is definitely a mind thing. It is definitely setting your intention to say, I'm not going to allow this, or the way I approach this is this particular way, or I see this thing, from a space of gratitude, to be able to say what opportunity, to see what opportunity is offering you to dig deeper into a space probably you wouldn't have at some other time. So I really do admire people who are able to deal with some of these things along their healing spiritual journey. And while it was your son who was under the surgery, very much it was you who was affected as well. So it's no way that wasn't your dis-ease either. You understand what I'm saying? Because it was yours just as much as it was his.
Listen, I know this. I came to realize it was much his journey as it was mine. And the first thing I knew was, again, I heard in the emergency room on that December 22nd when they found the tumor. And I heard, because I was like, oh, God said, that's my child, not yours. I said, okay. You are responsible, but you can't control what is going on here. You know what I'm saying? Your job, mom, is just to kind of do like I've been doing. And that's all I've it's just been is pouring into him as much as I can. You know what I'm saying? to help him. But again, you're right. I realize that it's just as much that it's mine as well as his. Like,
Yeah.
I know that.
These things make us look at life different. Just,
It does.
like, really figure out things. These are the things that make us start to pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
And so, that's where we find the real healing, because, you have to go into detail to find out what's wrong,
It was
so, or
everywhere but on
what's
camera.
disrupting the system, and so, yeah, it's definitely a continuous journey. And with health, I tell people, the biggest thing that we continue to remind people about is the stress part of it, because there is a lot of stress that comes along with finally deciding to be your authentic self in a world that teaches you to be everything other than that. You know what I mean? It take a whole lot of you to be in this world today.
You ain't not. You are not. I felt it today.
I'm
Today, I
sure.
felt that. I felt it today. I was exhausted today. Today was one of those days, and it was like, man, I need a vacation or something. I
What?
was like,
What?
I just need a
Listen,
vacation.
listen, if it's someplace warm, please let me know.
Yeah, I will. Yes. And that's why I want people to understand, like, the journey is not like once you like walk through the gates, like you said, it's not just, oh, heaven, oh, it's not like that. It's actually becomes more um intense because you can feel and see everything. It's not it become easier. It
No,
becomes
it doesn't. It doesn't.
no.
And it makes you be like, well, if I found this, what else will I find if I keep pushing? Like, what else is it? Because obviously I had no idea of who I was. So I'm thinking I know right now, but I think if I walk down the road a little bit more, I might find something else.
Yeah.
So this journey continuous. I tell people, once you wake up, as they say, once you do that, you woke. It's like you done had 45 cups of coffee.
You
You know what
cannot
I
go
mean?
back to sleep. I
It's like
cannot
you don't have
unsee the things. I cannot
it's like you
unsee
don't
it.
have 45 cups of coffee, because now all you can do is be up. You see everything. You be like, oh, 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 oh. Everything start to look different. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be like, okay, here we go. Like, well, if we gonna do it, let's do it.
Let's
You
do it.
feel me? We done came this far, so it's too far for us to quit. But I will say this is, aligning with your authentic self is, you mentioned so much like imposter syndrome, all these words that they throw out there now and these things like that. But I tell people like this, the best way sometimes I can explain being your authentic self is being able to let your shoulders down and just be you.
Yeah.
Just being you,
Mhm.
and because we walk around so tight up, so pent up, so blocked up, being everything that we think the world want us to be and need us to be, when all we really need to be is just ourselves, because we already are enough, for
That's it.
sure.
That's it.
You
That's
know?
it. I've been saying that lately. I said I have gotten to the point where I I'm very comfortable who I am. I know who I am. I'm very comfortable who I am. I love who she is. She
See,
she is it. You know what I'm saying? She's okay with all of that. And she understands all of who she is, like all of it. It's not none of what people thought she but it's everything that I have come to know about who I am.
right,
And it is a different type of being in myself. Like I'm good. I'm good. Like you said, you can just walk and be like, you know what, I'm done with it. I'm over it. I'm done with it.
yeah,
You can walk away or you can be engaged, but you understand that for yourself and you're okay with those decisions. Like you're
right,
okay with that. Listen, you don't like
right.
me, it's okay.
It's
Okay.
all right.
It's all
I'm not
right.
everybody. Look, I'm not everybody's
I-
cup of tea, but some people like coffee.
That's right. And I like, and so whatever. And so and for me, it's been very freeing and liberating because it's like I've always kind of been this person, but because I was trying to fit into boxes, because I was trying to be what other people thought I should be, I scaled me down. Right now, please.
Well, one thing I can say, you are definitely not scaled down. You are bigger and better than ever. I'm so grateful that you came into my life. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for all that you've done and all that you are going to do. Like I said, y'all, she has a workshop coming up on January, what is it, the 17th?
17.
The
Yes.
17th. And
Yes.
I'll have all that information below. But tell us a little bit about that workshop and tell us where we can find the book. And we will let you go get some rest tonight, girl.
Oh, girl, because I've
So,
been saying, I said, listen, this day is not over until I do this interview. I said, after I do that, then I can rest. But
yeah,
thank
I
you.
appreciate you. And we thank you here at the Healing Chambers for doing that. So, tell us about this workshop. Tell us where we can find this book, and we're going to get you over there to chill out and
I
rest.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. So, January 17th, it is going to be called the event is called Making Visions Visible, a Smart Video Girl Experience. And if you know, you know, this is like a coming out party for me. This is like here I am, world. Look at me. I ain't going nowhere. You gonna see me, okay? You gonna see me. So I'm going to be officially, even though I published the book in June, I haven't done like a full release of it. So I'm going to be releasing the book officially to the public, and I'm also working on a documentary because I am Smart Video Girl. And it really has to do with the compassion that I have for our community, for my Black and brown brothers and sisters, and how we can heal as a community, how I can take this individual work of aligning with our authentic selves, and how we can pour that into restoring our community, because we got to evolve. Like, no more of this, like the human race, like no more. Like, and I think, the more people who align with their authentic selves, takes back their power, we can pour into the community. So that, I'm going to be doing a sneak peek of that. It's called Dreams of a Vision. Um, and that's the name of the documentary. And then I'm going to be walking everybody who attends through the workshop of actually creating your own authenticity statements, which is great because it's right at the beginning of the year. Everybody wants to do all the great stuff at the beginning.
Resolutions and things, right? Right.
Right, right. So we're going to start the year off right with who we are, and you're going to help people create their authenticity statements that they can carry with them throughout the rest of their journey. And this really is a stepping out for me into who I am and where I see myself. This has been a journey, and this is not a space that I'm used to being in. I'm usually behind the scenes. I'm usually not doing all this talking. I'm not. But where I am today and what I'm supposed to be doing is like, this has always been who I am. And I've tried to play small, and I tried to play the back, and I tried to do the thing. And it was like, that's not where you belong. So here I
Well,
am.
I can agree with that. Your personality is amazing. Your light is so bright. And I can't imagine you just giving us from behind the scenes. So we are excited. So can you let the people know where this workshop is going to be,
Yes.
where they can get tickets, things like that?
Okay, so it's going to be in Laurel, Maryland, because that's where I'm located. January 17th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Laurel Library. Um, and it's a family friendly event because my kids will be there. My mom and my daddy will be there as well. Um, and you can get tickets right now. There's going to be a Eventbrite, so you can go on the RSVP on the Eventbrite. It is free, but you will have the opportunity to purchase a book if you have one. If you don't have one, if you bought one and you want to get it signed, you can bring it and get it signed. And then you can also, I'll be taking donations and support for the documentary as well. And I have some other stuff coming up because I'll be doing some workshops and some coaching. And I have some other things that I'm working on because I really enjoy working with people and seeing and talking. That's part of the gift too, is I can listen to somebody and just kind of,
Right.
because I listen to the words that they say, and then I parrot those words back to them. It's like, do you
Yes.
realize you said? And they be like, whoa. So I just help people kind of shift their language, that helps shift the thought, that has helped shift the feeling. So
Well,
that,
you are definitely doing beautiful work.
thank you. So yeah, that's that. And then too, the book is on Amazon. The book is in Barnes and Nobles, anywhere, everywhere that books are sold. You can buy the book, and you can
Yes.
also reach out to me, and I can get you a copy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you. I will have all of the information for the workshop, the book, your contact information. And
Yeah.
that way, if people want to reach out, get some one-on-one counseling, get
Yeah.
some consults in there, learn how to be their authentic self. If they can't make it to the workshop, maybe they can work with you privately
Yeah.
to construct their authenticity statements. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to sharing that information with everybody. Do you have anything else you want to share with us this evening?
Um, no, let me see.
Your
I just
podcast. Tell people where they can find your
oh,
podcast.
so yeah, so right now we still have, if depending on when this comes out, if it's before the end of the year, we still are ending with gratitude. So if you would like to, you can join us on the Be Earth You Earth School group on Facebook. And come on in there, watch some of my live videos about gratitude. Take the learn, write them out, use your journal, hydrate and appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Hydrate and appreciate.
Yes.
And then in February, because I'm not going to come back until February, but you can go back because there's plenty of seasons of introducing podcasts. And that's where I introduce people to new things and new ways of thinking. Um, and it's kind of like a class, a virtual classroom where I
Mm-hmm.
go through different concepts. Before I ended the last season, I did 12 weeks on the universal laws and how we can use them to apply to personal growth and personal
Mm-hmm.
development so that we can be aligned with the universe. We want to work with the law, not against the laws of the universe.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
yeah, but they're not just concepts for us to know and not apply to ourselves. So we have to apply them to ourselves and our self-worth. So that was very fun. So you can check that out on YouTube, and you can follow Only Greatness Media Productions. That's where all my video production work is. So
Yes. Greatness. Well, do the work, keep the faith. Here we go, aligning with your authentic self. Our sister, smart video girl, Krystal Glenn, has been with us tonight. We thank you so much. We know it's been a long day, so we are going to let you go. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this last episode of 2026 in the Healing Chambers. We'll be back with you in February. As you know, we come back towards the end of the month in February, Pisces season, getting ready to move into that next part of our year, which is spring. You know how much we love spring at Mount Lisa Temple. So
yeah.
winter time, we are still doing our winter studies. Anybody interested in any of those, please let us know. But all of our sisters' information will be beneath this video. And please reach out to her and get this book. Get this book. Get this book. Support that documentary. We can't wait to see all the things that you are going to do and how you are continue to lead us. And you should be so proud of yourself, because we are definitely proud of you.
I thank you. I really, 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 I truly appreciate you. I'm so excited that we are in the same orbit right now.
Yes, I love it. I love
I love
it. I
that.
love it. You
I'm
know,
grateful.
it's just so beautiful to just see us thriving after surviving for so long. You know, it's just a beautiful thing. So I thank you for being one of the ones who has guided us out of the dark so we can thrive and just be our most beautiful, authentic selves, be the lights that we're supposed to be here. So thank you so much for that. And thank you all for being with us tonight on the Healing Chambers. This information will be, like I said, linked down below. Get all that stuff, get your tickets, get your book.
Get your
Listen,
book.
come get your autograph. Cause see, again, Mine is autographed. So I'm gonna need y'all to get on my level.
Get on.
So we thank you, sister,
Yeah.
and we appreciate you, and we look forward to having you back. You are always welcome in the Healing Chambers. So thank you so much. Thank you all. This is your sister Mawalisa, was your sister Jamila, sister Ruth, Mawalisa Temple, beautiful upstate New York. We thank you for being with us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you in 2026. Can't believe it's already coming. Can't believe it. So thank you so much. Have a beautiful night, everyone. Peace.